Hey, what's up, guys? New video today is actually going to be on the stock market, and what I wanted to do was really look at the stock market in the preceding, quarter, really look at quarter three and quarter four going into election years, because I think there's a couple of very telling signals that kind of show us where we stand and where we are going, and I think we're going to have a good indicator of where this market is going. Are we gonna see that deflationary pressure that I've been talking about on this channel since we really started selling off in March, or are we going to continue upwards in this channel as we lost this channel and we recovered, and now we're kind of back in this zone. So are we going to stay in this zone, or are we going to go back down? A lot of questions, hoping to provide a lot of answers. So check it out. Before I continue, it's not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before making any type of investment. Past performance is not an indicator of future performance, so research. Remember, please do your own due diligence. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything here is strictly my opinion. We're just looking at charts for informational purposes only, nothing else. Don't base your financial decisions based off what I say, what Pete and Joe are telling you, or whoever, I forget what that's, Seeking Alpha, whatever, top 3, 5 stocks that they're recommending that are going to move 1,000%. Yeah, don't do any of that without doing your own due diligence, all right? But anyways, what I really wanted to do was I highlighted the last 6 recessions here, and I think we kind of have an indicator of where this market is going to go. And I think the election, going into this year's election, we're really going to have an idea of where this market's going. So what we really wanted to do was look at really quarter 3 and quarter 4 and see what that market really told us. So as you can see in leading up to the most recent election, we saw the market kind of in that July time, it kind of just stayed flat for a bit. It was pretty much even for about all the way up until the election, and as soon as Trump really started getting grounded winning, we saw a huge rally in the market, and we hit new all-time highs, and from there, we just had 4 years of just astonishing growth, right? Going back into 2012, the year Obama was elected, we saw in quarter 3 we rose a bit, and then at the start of quarter 4 we started falling. But the key is in quarter 3 we're able to hit new highs from this trend right here. So we hit new highs, wasn't at those old levels we were at before in 2008, but we did make new local highs, especially since from that 2009 bottom, and we began to kind of rally afterwards. So we saw sell-off into November. When Obama was elected, we started moving up again. Okay, I'm gonna skip 2008 because we could talk about that later. And again, very similar trend. We saw new local highs broken from that previous low from the stock market bottom, and then we saw these highs kind of crush in November time. We saw that quarter 3 was relatively flat again, and it really started to rise in quarter 4, and we saw a lot of strength, and from there the market kind of rallied over the next 4 years. So far we've had a pretty clear indication of where the market is going. In 96, almost the exact same thing. So we saw relatively flat movement in quarter 3 and quarter 4, things really started to heat up in 96, and from there we saw a very nice rally as well. Now, there's two election periods where we saw a lot of downward pressure, and that kind of told us that the market was indicating to us that the market was going to go a lot further down. Now, I want to look at 2000 because we had the dot-com bubble, and I know that NASDAQ is probably what you want to look at since it was a bubble, but this market was in a downtrend for multiple years. And when you look at that quarter 3 and quarter 4 going into the election, we did see a double top. We didn't break the new highs. We finished just below it, so we failed to break a new high, and we saw a nice little rally at the beginning into August, and by the time September rolled around, we really started selling off. And from October 30th, and you gotta remember that we had just ended like a huge 10-year rally, and especially in the tech sector, and we really started to sell off in quarter 4. We saw more downward pressure, and that election, you know, Bush, Republican, typically bullish for the economy, but we saw the market really start to kind of move down for multiple years afterward, and we kind of had the indication when we started seeing huge sell-offs, because in all those other years where we've seen bull markets, we've seen rises in the market, right? Now, this was different as we started to move down, and we did end up forming a bottom, so we kind of saw there that we weren't able to break the previous highs, and we just continued seeing downward pressure even after the election. So after Bush got elected, we still saw that downward pressure. 2008 subprime. So very similar situation where, you know, 07 was the top for the stock market, and as we got into quarter 3, going into election year, we were pretty dang flat all the way up until September, right? And really from July to September we're flat, and then September we saw that huge Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, etc. We saw a huge liquidation event, and that really told us that the market was going to continue to go downward, at least into the foreseeable future. So we saw a huge sell-off going into 2008 election. We entered the financial crisis, and we continued to go down for another about 6 months or so, and eventually we were able to kind of mark the bottom here, and then the market started to rise. So over the last 5 elections or 6 elections, we have seen, for the most part, it's choppy up and down, but we do see a lot of selling pressure, buying pressure coming in quarter 4, and I would expect that we kind of see the same thing here, where just going to move this box right here. So we're on June 15th, so I think what we're going to see is we're going to have a clear indication of, you know, this box. The reason I made it so big is because we really don't know, apologize for the noise, we really don't know which way it's going to go, but we could definitely see that going into this year's election, we could really start to see that downward pressure, especially if we fail to break this high. I think breaking this high and the stock market going to new all-time highs would really just kind of you would have to think about invalidating that idea that, you know, the market's going to go into those deflationary pressures that we talk about, even though Germany's in a recession, and US has always seen a recession after Germany goes into a recession. We've seen the 2 and 10 Treasury yield curves invert. We've seen rates get dropped down to 0. These are all typically signs you see before a recession. So I would have to think that this election year is very, very similar to the election years in 2000, where we were beginning a bear market and we just slowly grinded down, and 2008, where we just saw the Lehman Brothers event and huge liquidation event, and we continued to sell off until bottoming, a couple months later. The bottom for the market here was it took a lot longer, also because we kind of grinded down. So we kind of grinded down in the market, whereas here we had a huge capitulation event, and then we kind of capitulated again, and that kind of marked the bottom, right? So it happened a lot quicker because the movement was a lot more sudden, and I think you can make the case that this movement was very sudden, so this could have been the bottom, but I would disagree. I think we're going to go a lot lower, and I think we're going to have a better idea really come quarter 4. So expect kind of a flat movement around here, and then you're going to really see your move come September. I think definitely after September you're going to start seeing either some selling pressure or maybe selling, and then really start to see it get bought up into the election, going into the election. And if we get to November, December, and we're at new highs, I'm inclined to believe that this market will continue to just move up. Whereas here, if we fail to break highs, then and we really start to break down, I think it would kind of confirm that we're going to see a 2008 type event, 2000 type event. So let me know what you guys think. Stocks going up? Are they going down? Why? Does the money printer really go burr? What does it do? What does it do, guys? I think your guess is as good as mine, but we're trying to use all the data that we have to really make that inference. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you like the video, please comment, like, subscribe, and really just interact. I love to hear you guys' opinion. I think we're still on track for a recession, especially by quarter 4, and really going into election years, you do see either massive sell-offs or we kind of hit those new highs, kind of indicating to us that maybe the market's going to continue to rally. So very important time coming up over the next few months. Definitely want to pay attention to the stocks. It's going to definitely influence Bitcoin and the price of gold. Stocks going to new highs would probably be bad for gold, and could be good for Bitcoin, or stocks going down. I think that could be very good for gold, unless it's a liquidation event where the price of all assets just goes down and it's just heavy deflation, and ultimately gold will rise, I think. But Bitcoin, that's to be determined. How can it break that link with the stock market, or will it continue to sell off with stocks? So I think there's a lot of questions that we need answered, and we're really going to get some answers over the next few weeks / months. So definitely pay attention. That's it for today, guys. So you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.